Black Boy Music.
Nakumbuka tukitulia kwa uwanja wa serikali pale Nairobi County, tukiwatizama watiaji wakichanganyika na watu wazuri tuliopatana, na marafiki wazuri tuliopatana, na ndio marafiki wazuri tulioachana njiani. Na ni kwa huu wakati tuwezi ya sahau tulioyapitia, na yapanguze yako machozi. Na mimi nasema pana mama, pana msili. Hapana mama, pana msili. Mrembo dada mpendwa, na yasikutiririke yako machozi. Hapana mama, pana msili. Nakumbuka tukitulia kwa uwanja wa serikali pale Nairobi County, na OTT na ndikawasha moto, na ilikuwa ni kuni za waka usiku mzima, tena twaanda uji na yenye na wagawia pia nyinyi. Na mguu zangu na ndo pekee zaeza nitembeza we, na ninachukua hatua na kusonga mbele, na nitakapoenda kila kitu itakuwa sawa, na kila kitu itakuwa sawa, mambo yote itakuwa sawa, mambo yote itakuwa sawa, na kila kitu itakuwa sawa, na kila kitu itakuwa sawa, na mambo yote itakuwa sawa, na mambo yote itakuwa sawa. Hapana mama, pana msili. Hapana mama, pana msili. Mrembo dada mpendwa, na yasikutirike yako machozi. Hapana mama, pana msili. 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 Original Izzoh Munga. everything's gonna be alright. Na kila kitu itakuwa sawa, na kila kitu itakuwa sawa.
Kila kitu itakuwa sawa.
Everything's gonna be alright hata kama kuna corona.
Of course.
Manze.
How are you doing, Izzoh?
Niko freshi.
Yeah. Karibu sana kwenye show.
Thanks a lot.
See what you're doing with the hair there. You look so nice.
That's me.
Yeah. So karibu sana Island's Expressions. It's nice to have you on board, and that song is amazing, man. That song's amazing.
Well,
yeah.
I thank the guy who created me, the creator first. I also nasema asanti kwa mamangu na babangu. Na pia the one who taught me how to play the guitar.
Okay.
Yeah. The one who taught me how to tune it. Yeah. I give thanks. Okay. Na pia my fans.
Did you?
You get it?
Yeah. So Izzoh, nitakuwa nakuita later, of course. We're going to be catching up later. But before I let you go, your song is in Kikuyu. Yeah. So niambie tu kila kitu itakuwa sawa in Kikuyu, alafu pia mimi sasa nijaribu kusema.
Well, my song is in Kiswahili. Wait a minute.
Ile ya Kikuyu sasa.
Oh, wedo wa more than.
Wedo wa more than. Yeah.
Okay. Sawa.
Yeah. So how do I say kila kitu itakuwa sawa in Kikuyu?
Maudo more than nimekwagira.
There you have it, guys. Yes, itaweza. There you have it, guys. But thank you so much for coming through. Tutakucheki in a few.
True.
Yeah. So guys, thank you so much for joining us live for E Square. Remember, we are live on YouTube at E_Square TV. If you are joining us live for the first time, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are our loyal viewer each and every Saturday, thank you so much, Manze, for always staying tuned for E Squared. Thank you for helping the family grow. And of course, mmecheki msanii mwenye ako on board. You're going to be interacting with that artist in a few. But before we get there, my co-host is around somewhere. Where are you, Benjamin? Kwani leo watu wa dread mmeamua je na nywele? You look nice.
Unajua, we have to look presentable.
Hatuwezi mwanamke.
Tuna umama.
Thank you for the Happy Women's Day appreciation. So welcome back to the show. Guys, kama hauku watch last week's show, be sure to watch it on our YouTube channel. Hapa tu is squared at E_Square TV. Benjamin co-host for the very first time last week, and he's going to be doing that in the next couple of weeks. You know?
True.
So, how was your first experience?
Wow. I want to thank first, of course, the studio for providing the chance. It was, I can't lie and say ati ilikuwa rahisi ama ati kitu ni rahisi. Hapa kuonekana kwa TV, my friend, si jokes. Si jokes. Yeah. It's quite the tough thing on your mind, but nimework on it. Sasa tushaanza kudevelop ka chemistry na nisione hizo vitu kwa comments tafadhali.
I loved your conversation with the band. You guys did an amazing job. The interview was so inquisitive. Yani mtu alikuwa anataka kujua this, and you asked the right questions. So you did a great job on a first, and we're hoping we're going to be interacting with more of Benjamin sasa, sindo?
Amen.
Yes.
Shout out to Ujamo Vibration.
Yeah.
They provided a very good. Ilikuwa rahisi. Uliwaona wenyewe.
Niliona.
Warasi unaongea tu.
Nilijoin hiyo band. Unajua pia mimi niko kwa Ujamo Vibration sasa hii. Wewe usinione tu hivi. Yeah, so right now I am part of the band. Mtakuwa mnaniona in a few, but how has your week been, Benjamin?
Wiki yangu siwezi complain, imekuwa poa. I've had a quite learning week. Nimekuwa nikiwatch video sana. Nikitry ku perfect zile vitu niliona ziko poa, zingine ziko poa. So yeah. Na wewe?
Mimi wiki yangu imekuwa crazy. Nimekuwa nikijaribu ku get this look. Finally we got it.
It was worth it, guys. I'm here for your proof.
Yeah, so it has been a crazy week and an amazing week. And of course, I'm still excited to be here. I'm excited to be co-hosting with you. And I'm excited for giving you guys an amazing show each and every Saturday from 2 p.m. Yes.
So, pia highlights zako za wiki hivi, downsides, umeonaje? Unajua, by the way, first before we go on, happy Women's Day to every woman mwenye ana breathe and mwenye ame rest. It has been a tough time, by the way. Wamama wamekazana, unajua a few years ago haikuwa hivi.
Yeah.
So yeah, happy Women's Day to everyone.
And it's good to celebrate women as well. So thank you so much for the wishes. Guys, celebrate women in your life. Celebrate your sisters, celebrate your daughters, celebrate your neighbors, celebrate your mothers, celebrate kila mwanamke mwenye ako kwa maisha yako, because at the end of the day we are the core part of the society. We build the society together. Without you we cannot do it, and without us you can also not do it. So we build each other together. So, no?
On the same note, Carol, my downside of the week, ile story ya Forest Road manze.
Yeah.
Imagine wanaume wamekaa tu kwa jamu wanaangalia kitu kama inafanyika.
It was a sad incident.
Happy Women's Day kwa hao wanaume wote, mkono umama.
It was a very sad incident, manze. And I can't stop thinking of the screams, that lady just screaming for help. It was sad. What happened, guys? We can do better. Wasewa boda, we are not fighting you, because at the end of the day, you need that woman to give you that car 50 bob. You need me to give you that car 100 bob. So wewe usiponijenga, mimi nitakujenga aje, na tutajengana aje pia kwa society.
Haiwezekani, lazima ikuwe mutual manze.
Yeah, so as much as kuna hiyo regulation yenye the president ame put on board, registering all boda operators, it is a great initiative, though it might be pushy to some extent, because what of that person mwenye maybe hana the right credentials za kuweza kujiregister as a boda operator. At the end of the day, we are thinking about the safety of you and my safety as well. Now, as a boda rider, also think about your safety as well before you think of even doing something as sad as happened this week. Yeah.
Me personally, mi na agree na president sana. In fact, hata eri wafungwe yote juu. Carol, hii ni issue gani tumekuwa tukiongea? Year in year out, boda mtu anduthi, boda mtu anduthi. Mwingine hata alikuwa na guts ya kupiga karao kofi na anamuibia live on camera. Though wote ni wezi, hiyo ni story ya siku nyingine.
But it had to take a foreigner for us to take action.
Welcome to Kenya, man.
Yeah.
Shape up.
Meja alisema karibu Kanairo.
Karibu Kanairo.
Yes, and on that note, of course, my greatest low light itakuwa, there was this incident that happened in Ukraine. Maternity ward was bombed. Yes, it is so sad, man. Yani, I don't know what the society is turning to. Now, guys, let's pray for these people. Yani, let's pray for Russia. Pray for Ukraine. Yani, we just hope peace will be restored one day. I pray for those days when we were in a society where we didn't have to worry about what someone is going to do to me because maybe they do not like me or they feel like that is the right thing for them to do at that particular time. But I just pray that we get back to a space whereby everyone, Benja, ikuwe ni mama mboga, ikuwe ni mtu wa nduthi, ikuwe ni wewe Benja, for safe kwa society yenye huko. Sindo?
Ete kama hata huwezi feel kupray about them. Fikiria also kuna Wakenya huko Ukraine, kuna Wakenya wako na family in Ukraine, manze. Just send your love. Do what you can. Omba, man.
Okay. Yeah. And before we get into the show, nataka kukumbusha, I think you've forgotten your highlight. The story na mask, guys. Mask imeliftiwa off. It is not mandatory to wear mask in public anymore. But Benja, najua uko happy. But, okay, of course, you get to finally see our faces. But think about your safety as well. COVID bado iko. Be safe, social distance, wash your hands, sanitize, wear your masks. Wear your masks bado, sino? Yeah. And of course, our today's Did You Know? Did you know? Guys, did you know? Iceland is the only country in the world that has no mosquitoes.
Ati ni wapi?
Iceland.
Twende sahi.
By the way, hata nazataka kwenda huko sahi.
Hebu imagine kuwa na rugged jeans na mosquito imejaa kwenye.
Zero mosquitoes.
Ile shida naonanga. Lazima twende. Pia wewe acha nikurudishie. Our today's Did You Know kwa Sheng. Directed to Carol.
Yeah.
Aya. Niche ni nini?
Niche.
Si
kwa ngoso, sio?
Acha hata nitumie kwa
Aya, mimi sijui.
Aya.
Aya.
Hey boss, hiyo kitu ni ya pesa ngapi? Ni ya niche mzee. What is niche?
I don't know.
Guy, mpaka nimesema pesa kama.
Sijui, niambie.
Ni 50 bob.
Oh. Okay. Benjo kuna niche yangu by the way.
Hii si story ya TV Carolaki. Mambo ya uji wacha huko nje.
Ni sawa. Nimelan.
Sawa.
And of course, guys, we have a great lineup for you today. Our first artist is in the building, Izzoh Munga. Memuona ki perform the first piece. He's going to be doing more of that. Na Benja atakuwa na have conversation na yeye later on. I'm so excited for that conversation.
Pia mimi.
Yeah.
Napenda mangoma zake sana.
Alafu the fact that you guys are all Rasta men. I'm so excited for that conversation. Sindo?
Si unajua watu Rasta, we are very honest people. Tunaongeleshana tu a conversation ya kawaida.
Sorry, sir. Sorry. And of course, we promised to have the conversation on taking care of 2 to 6 year old. we're going to be having that conversation today, guys. So zile maswali zenye ulikuwa nazo zote. What conversations do I have with my 2 to 6-year-old? How safe do I know they are wakiwa pale shule? Na ni food gani wanapatiwa pale shule? Is it even safe for them? And what is safe enough for a 2 to 6-year-old? Dr. Elizabeth is going to be joining us shortly for that conversation. Before we get into that, this week, E Squared has been celebrating extraordinary women, yani, wale madem,
Wale ma Caroline.
wale ma Caroline. And of course, you guys checked out our Instagram. We hosted a couple of beautiful ladies doing amazing stuff in the society. Now, there's a video up that is going to be highlighting some of the ladies that did amazing things in society. So this is just to encourage every woman out there, whatever you're doing, you never know who you're going to be impacting. So, whatever you're doing at your smallest capacity or whatever capacity it is, you do not know who's going to be benefiting from that. So keep doing you, keep encouraging others, keep building the society, and let's keep growing together. So up next is a video celebrating all the beautiful women we have hosted on this squad. So take a look.
I go by the name of Moesha, in full names, Moesha Kibibi Tajiri. People know me as Miss FBI or Moesha K or Young Mother of Many. I'm a professional dancer in the award-winning dance crew called FBI Dance Crew, the only female there. And I'm a full-time mentor. Not only a mentor, let's say I'm a mother of thousands of kids.
A mother of thousands of kids.
And this is what I normally do. I know like every county, kuna shule 50, let's say secondary 50. Me nagoga, I'm rich in prayers and positivity. I approach these schools.
Praise the Lord for that. You're rich in prayer and positivity.
Yes. So I approach these schools in each county.
Yeah.
Because almost every county I have kids that I mentor. Not only kids, I have kids from 2 years old to 80. Not only kids, 2 years old to 84 years old. Yeah.
Oh,
so
wow.
not only niko na watoi, niko na orphans, niko na wale wako na single parents who can't work, ni wa sick. I have now like 626 kids who are HIV positive.
Look at
I have
you.
200 kids who are special kids who are handicapped. And I have old people when you're tembea or anything. So me, I approach these schools.
Yeah.
Niaje, please, saidia watoi wa sponsor. Because I know at the end of the day, out of these 50 schools, kuna zile 10 zitakubali.
That's true.
So nakoga tu na hiyo. So even right now, napeleka watoi shule. At least this term, I've managed to take almost like 60 kids when you're just going to talk to the schools.
Yeah.
So part ya mimi kuenda kununua uniform inabakia kwangu. So I have to work hard to make sure to buy. Because let me
So
tell
for the
you,
60 kids, this
yes,
term,
and right now nimebakia almost like 246 when you're wanafaa join Form 1. Yeah, so I'm still like approaching
That's
the
a
schools
heavy
and everything.
burden.
Because I realize, with this diverse power organization,
Yeah.
ilifanya nijue kuandika proposal. I didn't know. Because niliandika proposal kwenye hakuna mtu sijaandikia. Even all these celebrities,
Yeah.
wakifungua DM zao,
Yeah.
they will find my message.
someone somewhere is watching. And we really, really pray that you get the much help that you need. And to take care of yourself as well. You need to take care of yourself. I mean, you need to be a mother for so many others who are looking. And you need to be here for longer, So take care of yourself.
Wow.
And big up to what you're doing. Big up to you.
Thank you
You're doing
so
an
much.
amazing, amazing job.
Fistula ni wakati mtu ako na urine incontinence. Urine or fecal incontinence. Yani ile mkojo inatoka bila control. So in the older days before information ikuje watu walikuwa nafikiria ni kurogwa. So wakati nililearn kuhusu ilikuwa sometime back when I was at Sayari. So I did this story of a lady who had stayed for 35 years na hiyo condition. I interviewed her before the surgery. We went to hospital with her. I accompanied her to the hospital together with the organization that was funding her. Akaenda akafanyiwa surgery.
Yeah.
And then after 2 months nikaenda kwake. That was a beautiful story. Nikaenda kwake, nikamu-interview after 2 months. And it's something that up to date I always say, you know what, for those women out there, wakati nilifanyanga hiyo story Sayari, a lot of women came out wakisema wako na the same condition na wakasaidiwa wakapata surgeries. So I love telling stories that have an impact for society. kama hiyo saa after kufanya hiyo story, I mean, more women got the awareness that, you know what, it's not a taboo, it's not sikurogwa nimerogwa, it's actually a medical condition and it's treatable, it's correctable, it's called correction. Like you correct, it can be corrected. Na hiyo fistula izibwe. So alizibwa. After those 35 years, the woman was very happy.
My name is Christine Hamasi. Days for Girls is an organization that make washable pads. So when we say Days for Girls, it means more days for girls to have more days of dignity, more days of confidence in school, and more days of enjoying the journey of menstruation.
I love that. I love that. Days for girls. So more days for making sure that you have a wholesome girl during the days that they are experiencing menstruation. That's amazing. How long have you been running Days for Girls?
This is my 7th year since I started. So this is my 7th year.
7 years. Wow, that's a long time.
Yeah.
And what prompted you to start this organization?
What prompted me to start this organization in Nairobi is because of the menstrual shame I faced when I was growing up. I faced a lot of shame. I faced a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
And when I got an opportunity to go to Days for Girls University, I was like, yeah. This is what I want. I don't want any other girl to go through what I went.
Yeah.
Because overcoming the shame of menstruation was really, really bad. Yeah, that is what made me do.
Do you mind sharing, taking us back to those days, as in that shame, or what experience, what happened to you?
So the first 3 days of menstruation was a big challenge. I was in fear. I was in worried. I didn't know if I was sick or snake had bitten me, and it was really hard to express because nobody was saying anything about it.
Yeah.
So I didn't have anything to manage my period. I didn't even own a panty, leave alone having the pad. Because even if I had the pad, how would I use it if I don't have a panty?
Yeah.
So after some time, I had to steal my father's innerwear so that I would use it, and it was wash and wear, so that at least I would have something. I used leaves, they were not helping. I used cow dung, it was not helping. I got a lot of infection from these. And remember, I was only 9 years old. So after 3 months, I went and visited my grandmother and told her what was happening to me. And she was like, now that you are seeing blood coming, you should not play with the snakes. And I was like, now how do I play with the snakes? Did I play with, did I got bitten by snakes? That's why I'm having blood. So later on, I realized that she was meaning, now you are a grown-up girl. If you play with boys, they are going to impregnate you. But it just came later on when I was realizing this.
Yeah.
So not having something to manage my period was a big shame for me.
My name is Nancy Achieng. Some people call me Chokora. Ule mother of Tamkoko.
Ule mama uvuta mkoko.
Ule enda kidora dora.
Sawa. Kudora dora ni kufanya nini?
Chambua.
Hiyo ni sheng. Haya, sawa. Unanifunza tu tukiendelea.
Hiyo ndio ya ghetto.
Hiyo ndio lugha.
Wewe unajua ni babu.
Wow, okay, sawa. Wacha tuendelee na hii interview, tuache hiyo story. But tuanzie kwa hiyo story ya uni mother wa kuvuta mkoko. How does that make you feel first and foremost? Kabla tuendelee, utuambie how you landed there.
Hiyo form iko BA. Iko BA sana, niko proud.
Uko proud?
Yeah.
How does your son feel when akisikia watu wakisema hivyo?
Okay, most of the time when my son goes to school, guys humuingililia. Wanamtukana mother yako ni chokora. So him deep inside yo jua hiyo ndio inaleta daily bread kwa hao.
Yeah.
But unajua, okay, he's in a city council school.
Yeah.
So unajua hapo kuna watu wenye mapunk na kwenye wenye hawana ile level ya chini.
Yeah.
So kaa yeye mabeshtu umtukana, madhako ni chokosh, unaona madhako vuta mkoko, ubebana na anaenda kiokoto kuta vitu.
Yeah.
But yana waambia hiyo ndio yo fanya nini, inatulisha home na inapeikeja.
Yeah.
Because hata yeye saa zingine ubeba ka plastic kake, ka paper bag, anaenda kiokota.
Chenye
within
anaona
the
inaweza
school
kusaidia.
compound, analeta naambia mam, leo tutauza hii, nimekuletea tutauza, at least nibai hata pencil ama inipatie pesa ya break.
Ya break.
So na vile watu humo enjoy yes tukangi yana ndio ndo hustle kani muli bless wa kwenyu si yetu ndio hii jajame tu bless nayo. So msidharau kazi ya madhangu.
Exactly.
Jukani budako anaendesha dinga, madhangu yanaendesha mkoko. Hiyo mkoko ni VA na VA inakam. Mimi najua inakam na jaja. VA inakam.
Bless his whole.
My name is Diana Ketch. I've been doing this initiative for the past 5 years, where I give back to the cancer survivors. I lost a very close friend of mine 5 years ago through cancer. I walked with her through that journey, and I actually saw how it's important for a woman to have hair, basically. Good health is important, it's good, but I saw how it really affected her when she lost hair. So me being in the hair industry, I felt I should do more to other ladies who have lost hair by just giving back. Normally when you have cancer, it's something very expensive. So you might find people in Oko Mashinani, somebody is going to think, either am I going to buy food? Am I going to buy a wig? It's not a priority. So what I do is that I try to just make them survive beautifully. When I started, it really used to affect me so much, because you might find you've given like 10 survivors, then after a few months you hear they all passed away. So it really used to affect me. But now through counseling, I've been taught how to handle it, how to deal with it, and just how to accept life the way it is. So the bottom line for me is to give happiness to that person at that particular moment.
I'm confident, I'm happy. Thank you so much to this son for instilling confidence in cancer patients. Wakati mwingine wagonjwa wa saratani wanaonekana kama mbaya, wanaelekea kufa. The way the world expects us to live ni kama utakufa kesho. You are not supposed to be happy, you are not supposed to be seen. But thanks to thee.
What I always pray is that if people would have the loving heart to support them, you can't be financially stable all the time. But why don't you just go and get fruits for this person? Just check on the person, call them. How are you doing? How are you feeling? Kama nywele imeanguka, you're like, I know a lady called D who can sort you out. Or if you have the money, you can say, D, I've sent you something small, sponsor my neighbor. Let's not, most of them suffer from a lot of stigma and isolation. Some are abandoned by their families, by their spouses, because like, this woman has breast cancer. What am I doing with a woman with one breast? They go marry younger girls. So what even kills the most is the depression and the isolation.
Well, Yari, Islam's expressions celebrates you not just on 8th of March, but of course each and every day for being extraordinary, for being you, yani for being that key anchor point to everything that goes around the society. Thank you so much for always being extraordinary, and of course we celebrate you each and every day. Guys, remember to interact with us on our social media handles. We are on YouTube at E_Square TV, and across other social media handles at E_Square TV, and on Twitter at E_Square KE. And as we promised, guys, we're going to be having a conversation on taking care of 2 to 6-year-old. Square delivers. We promised that we're going to be having that conversation. So share your feedback on the comment section. Share your questions. We're going to be getting to those questions. And of course, we're going to be giving you answers. So Dr. Elizabeth is in studio. She is joining me for this conversation. And I'd love to let her introduce herself. So Dr. Elizabeth, thank you so much for joining us for E-Squared. And welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Caroline, for having me here.
Yeah.
So my name is Dr. Elizabeth Jowi. I'm a consultant pediatrician and actually work in the government sector. I work at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, which is just next door to here. And being a pediatrician means I take care of children, basically. Ideally, a child is somebody from newborn till they're 18 years old. So anyone, even the adolescents, all that classifies under pediatrics, and we're here to take care of them.
Okay. What do you love about being a pediatrician?
It's fantastic. You know, working with babies are the purest souls, honestly. They are very pure. So, and what I like about babies is that they don't lie. The baby is unwell, they'll show you they're unwell. The baby's getting better, they'll show you they're getting better, and they bounce back really fast. So I'm really passionate about seeing babies thrive, healthy. I usually tell people I don't like seeing sick babies, which what most people would want to, to treat the sick. I'm like, I'd rather make sure you remain well.
Okay.
Yeah.
What does it really take to be a pediatrician?
It's actually quite a challenging job because you have to work with little babies, even the older babies, and it's most of the time very painful to see them actually struggling. So you can imagine putting yourself in that situation where I have to do everything I can just to make sure this baby thrives and does well. Yeah. So it's quite a challenging job, but it's also quite a fulfilling job.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you'll just be holding your mic close to your mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. So okay. So today we're going to be talking about taking care of 2 to 6 year old. Wewe ni bazu kwa hiyo sector. So you're going to be teaching us. I'm open to learning.
Yes.
Yeah. So we'll start from the key pointer. When we talk about raising a 2 to 6 year old the right way, what exactly is the right way?
There are quite a number of components that come in terms of raising children, 2 to 6 year olds. One, it's quite a challenging period. That's where you hear talking about terrible twos. That's where you hear talking about tantrums. That's where you hear people telling people that my child is about to go to school, which is also another challenging period. And you find that most of the time, a lot of focus is put on the younger babies. And these older babies kind of sometimes get lost, like even parents know. I take my child to the clinic until they're 9 months or 1.5 until they finish getting their vaccines, and that's it. But it's a very important period in life. Yeah? Childhood actually is a very important period in life. Your brain is developing, and it literally is like a sponge at that point. And there are so many factors that can happen within that period that can literally make or break the life of this child. And I think one thing that is important for parents to know is that what we do when we're training these little babies is actually grooming them to the future. I'm not just taking care of a 2-year-old or a 6-year-old. I'm raising a future adult, So whatever I do at this period actually has a very big impact on raising this child. And a number of times you'll find that there's focus on their physical health, but then people forget about their emotional health, their social emotional, bits. What do I need to do to make sure that this child thrives as a whole human being? Okay. Not just a healthy baby, but are you healthy mentally? Are you healthy physically? Are you healthy emotionally? So that's quite a number of the things that we do, like when we're watching them grow and, the things that we need to do to make sure that this period is done well. Okay. It puts you at a very good point now, if you do it well, to what you're going to go through with your preteen, with your teenager, and even with your adult child.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, as a parent, how do I ensure my 2 to 6 year old is mentally, emotionally, and physically fit?
Okay, there are quite a number of things. Now, it's important to know that these are children who you still have to make sure are growing well. So physical health is very important. So you have to make sure that, one, they're still catching up with their pediatrician's appointments, yeah? Don't stop because it's 18 months and they've gotten their last vaccine according to their schedule. Continue going to your pediatrician. That's also an important thing because that's the point where the pediatrician will also keep monitoring, and we tend to pick very little subtle changes, which, if managed adequately and early, can actually be sorted out in the future. So we have to continue going to the doctor's appointments as scheduled, not only when the child is sick. We have this habit, I don't know if it's as Kenyans or as general population, that I go to the hospital when I'm sick. But going to the hospital when you're well, just to make sure, or taking your baby to hospital when you're well, just to make sure your baby is well, makes a very big difference. Preventive medicine is very important.
Okay.
Yes, so you have to make sure that they're going for their physical appointments. You have to make sure that your child is eating well. And this is usually one of the topics that we usually discuss with parents. And a number of times, it brings a lot of questions, maybe issues sometimes, You'll hear people saying, my child doesn't eat. Or you'll tend to just give them what you think is right, or maybe what you didn't have when you're growing up, yeah? So we are causing, as parents, quite a bit of undernutrition. And when I talk about undernutrition, I'm talking about the low weight and the high weight as well, yeah? Obesity is also part of malnutrition. So we have to make sure that our children eat very well. A 2-year-old ideally should eat every 3 hours. Yeah?
Mhm.
Every child ideally should eat every 3 hours. And when I say every 3 hours, that's 3 main meals with snacks in between. And your 3 main meals and your snacks all have to be well balanced and well nutritious, and also a good quantity. So breakfast, lunch, supper, and your snacks in between. Healthy snacks, not soda and crisps and lollipops and things like those. No, healthy snacks in between. A glass of milk, a cup of yogurt, fruit, very essential. And children also eat vegetables. People don't believe that, but it's very important. Introduce different kinds of foods to your children at an early age. They get used, you prime their taste buds. They get used to eating all of these things. Mboga is essential. Whatever, parents will always tell you, mtoto wangu akuli mboga. But technically, you're the parent, you're the grown-up, you're the one who knows, and you know that my child needs to give this, yeah? Put your ground rules down, be nice and firm, and make sure your child eats well, yeah? Make eating fun, and eat also around them, yeah? So that they also know that everyone is also enjoying this meal. Good nutrition is very key for growing and also for boosting immunity. So it's very important.
Okay.
Another thing for the babies, 2 to 6-year-olds, playing. Playing. Let children play. It's an age group where, one, it's very tricky. Their 2-year-olds are now learning the environment. They're learning to move. They're more steady when they're walking. They're learning to jump and things like that, and they're exploring. And it doesn't get any better. It actually gets worse as they grow older. Allow your children to play, yeah? We have a tendency also to kind of babysit our children with technology. And you find that really, it actually interferes with their brain development. At this point, the brain is what we say very plastic. It can adapt to quite a number of things. It can learn many things, and children between 2 to 6 years learn a lot from the environment, You go outside, the sun is bright, the skies are blue. You've taught them day and night. You've taught them color in just a few seconds, They go, they see these trees, yeah? They learn that the leaves are this color. They are smooth. There's a rough leaf. There's a thorn there. They learn a lot from the environment. So let your children play.
Okay.
Actually, it's recommended that children have a minimum of 180 minutes of play. Out of that, let 1 hour be vigorous play, yeah? But it doesn't mean you have to seclude it to that 180 hours. Let them play. They learn a lot from that, yeah? Then these are children who thrive a lot from affection and, being recognized, yeah? So talk to your children, yeah? A lot of times, sometimes you feel like a baby is small. Ataelewa nini nikumuongelesha, But these children, first the 2-year-old is at the point where they're learning language. They can speak longer sentences. They have put multiple words together to get longer sentences. They can understand as much as they are not very expressive, they can understand. The 3-year-old gets better, gets more fluent. The 6-year-old will even question you,
Yeah.
They'll ask you, why are you doing this? Because that's the point where now they're learning how to reason. So talk to your children.
Okay.
We tend to delegate a lot of our parenting to other people, the screens, the nannies, the teachers. But then as a parent, you also have to make sure, how is my child developing? So you have to talk to your children, play with them, engage them in whatever little thing that may seem silly to you as a parent, but is very important for them. That bonding is really fantastic for them, for their emotional growth, for their social development. Let them play with other children. They learn how to, share, play with others, little things from that, yeah? So there's quite a number of important things that we need for our children.
Okay. So when we talk of grooming, there's something that you've mentioned that is really, really important, because a 2 to 6-year-old, this is the time that they're picking things from the environment they are at. This is the time that they're also growing into learning some of the things that you teach them as a parent. So as a parent, what are some of the conversations that I need to have with my 2 to 6-year-old?
Start with the basics. Parenting, well, it can be complex. That's what most people say. But just do what you can. Walk in, how was your day? And well, the little babies are not very expressive, yeah? So when you ask such a question, typical answer is good, yeah? Because maybe that's how they know how to answer. But now make it more involving, yeah? Ask them, what made you happy? What made you sad? What was good about this day? Did you play with someone? Which game did you play? And just strike a conversation with that child. It doesn't matter how young they are. They actually understand what you're saying and they understand the conversation. For the younger children, entertain their talk. It's a lot of babble, it's a lot of stories, but that focus, that attention from the parent actually makes them understand that somebody believes in me, somebody is understanding me, somebody is giving me that attention. And without actually knowing what the parent is doing, they're raising a very confident child who will not be afraid of walking up and saying, I have a problem, can you help me with this? Because you gave them that opportunity when they came to you to tell you, look at my ball, it broke or something like that, and you listened to the story and you entertained it, yeah? So general conversation. A number of us, I'm a working mom, so you find that you might not have that time every day, but spare a few minutes once you get home. You can decide maybe if the children shower in the evening and I get home at that time, let me be the one to shower them and just engage them while we're, cleaning the babies, ask them different stories. And you find that in that conversation, you pick out a lot of things that's happening with your child everywhere. You might find maybe somebody is bullying them. You might find that maybe they enjoy this more than this. You might see their character developing. So it's a very important thing, yeah. It seems trivial, but let me tell you, even 5 minutes of your time without interruption for your baby makes a very big difference in terms of their interaction with you and their development later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what is an alternative for a parent, let's say, who cannot afford a pediatrician?
Okay. When we're going through med school, we go through stages. Before I became a pediatrician, I was in medical school for about 5 years then. Now it has changed. And we learn everything. We learn everything. Then you do your internship here where you're now a general doctor. And then after that, I decided now I don't want to handle anyone but the children, and I went in and specialized. So if you're not able to see me and you walk into any facility and you find a general doctor, it's someone who's well-versed with pediatrics. They can still be able to pick a few things, yeah? You can walk into a health center, you might find a nurse who is able to show you something about your baby, teach you something. You can walk maybe into a dispensary and find a clinical officer who's also trained in a little bit of pediatrics. And all these cadres know that when they pick something that is beyond their expertise, then they know to refer. So being unable to afford a pediatrician does not mean that your child should not be able to get what they need in terms of medical care from a specialist. And we have pediatricians everywhere. I work at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. It's a government facility. I'm a pediatrician. So you find that the rates there are subsidized, and you'll still be able to go in and see a specialist. So it should not stop anybody from seeking help when they actually need it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So earlier you stated that we're in a generation whereby our kids are raised by technology.
Yes.
Technology takes the bigger part of it, sorry.
Mm-hmm.
So most kids are also raised by nannies and house girls.
Yeah.
Is it something that you'll recommend as a pediatrician?
If you have to do it as a working mom, and if you need help whenever you need help to raise your children, by all means get it. Because it doesn't mean that you're less of a parent for asking for help. Yeah. Now, what ideally you need to do is find somebody who's aligned to your values, yeah, as a parent. And you train them as well into what you require for your child. So that this is basically a co-parent. When you're away, then they're helping take care. And you find that it's not anything new. It's just that it is now becoming more common. But if you look at even how our parents were raised, there was always either an auntie or a grandmother or somebody else when their mom or their dad had to be away from them, yeah? So it's literally a village. And parenting is not something very easy, and it's not something you can do alone, yeah? You need that village. So it doesn't mean that having a nanny makes it a bad thing. Yeah? But just make sure that whatever it is that you require of your child is also being passed on. So there's some kind of continuity of care. Yeah.
Okay. And what are other measures that I can put in place to ensure that when I'm not around, my kid is taken care of the right way?
The right way.
Yes.
Okay. One, like I said, whoever you have within you, within your reach, whoever is what you can say your village, whether it's your siblings, your aunties, whoever, let them know what your principle are as a parent. Sometimes there's a fear that maybe somebody is older than me, and it will be difficult to tell them I want this done or I don't want this done, but just let them know what it is that you want, yeah? Okay. Then for those who you can train, like your nannies, train them, yeah? Something from as simple as this is how baby's food needs to be cooked. This is the timings that we need to keep for nap times, for feedings, for playing, or whatever it is. This is how I want, you know, this and this done. Make it trained, yeah? But the delegation just means that you're allowing somebody else to carry on your job, but it doesn't mean that you've handed it over, okay? So you as a parent then need to come back and make sure that the rules that you've kind of set are being followed. So simple check-ins, like what I was saying, at the end of the day, have conversations with your children, just look around, how are they doing? Find out even from the nannies, whoever was there, what was happening. Was it a good day? You can ask them to call you during the day if you must, yeah? You can do frequent check-ins, phone calls to the kids if they can talk. These days, most people have smartphones. You can do video calls. So as much as we're kind of against technology, you can find ways to, you know, use it for your benefit, yeah, as long as you're not overdoing it, yeah? So remember, you're delegating, you're not handing over the job. Okay. Baby is still yours. You still have to take care of the baby. Yeah.
And you also talked about this is the age that you're also figuring out taking your kid to school. So at what age is my kid not prone to respiratory diseases to ascertain them, be able to start school?
Okay, that's quite an important question, yeah, because you find that the babies are the ones who are most prone to illnesses, yeah? Simple fact, their immune system is not very well developed, yeah? And that's one of the reasons actually we give them their vaccines when they're younger. And it actually gets worse. The more they're exposed to some of these respiratory illnesses, it gets worse. But that helps their immune system actually build up. So it's usually a fear that I know my child has to go to school and I'm afraid of them getting ill. But remember, the basics that we laid down, yeah? Good nutrition, adequate sleep, which also helps, you know, with that, and just follow up, you know, follow up care with your doctor. And it's also important that when you have a sick child, that you're able to identify early. And the only way you'll identify early is if you keep going for your hospital visits. Because in those setups, we tend to teach moms and dads and caregivers. This is what a sick child looks like. This is what I need you to bring the child to hospital for, you know. So they are taught how to identify a sick child and seek health care early. It's much easier even on the doctor to treat a child who has presented early than a child who's very sick, yeah? So take the children to school at the recommended age. For Kenya, it's 4 years to start their preschool. Some take their children earlier. It might depend on your circumstances around work, but reliable age is 4 years. Take them to school, take all precautions. When COVID came, it taught us quite a number of things. It was like a blessing in disguise. Because those are the same things that we actually use, and it's what we teach people on how to prevent simple illnesses like the respiratory illnesses and the diarrheas and vomitings and things like those basic hygiene. Wash your hands, keep surfaces clean, you know, like if you're sneezing, coughing, and you can actually teach a child 3-4 years old how to cough appropriately, how to sneeze appropriately. Yeah. So just follow the preventive strategies, and if in any point the baby gets sick, take to hospital, and now we manage the baby. So don't be afraid of taking the babies to school.
Okay.
Yes.
Now that you've talked of taking your kid to the hospital, what are some of the symptoms that I need to be on the lookout for before taking my kid to the hospital?
Okay. Like I said, children don't lie. A sick child will tell you, I am sick. in whatever way they will show you, but because you have stayed with this child, you will know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Majority of the time, it will be just a change in mood. My child is usually very playful. All of a sudden, we're not playful. My child eats very well. All of a sudden, I don't want to eat food. Yeah, those ones on top of maybe the obvious signs that you'll see, like maybe they're coughing, or maybe they're having diarrhea, or maybe they're vomiting, or on top of the extra things. But the simple things, just look, is there any character change? Mm-hmm. Then there could be something wrong. Monitor, put your eyes on it and see, is there a problem? Do I need to seek medical attention? And if you're not sure, I always say you'd rather go and let a professional tell you your child is okay, monitor, than sit in the house and decide, no, I'll just watch. You might just watch until things are really thick, and at that point, managing is difficult. So if you're in doubt, just take the child to the hospital. Yeah, that's what we're there for.
Okay.
Yeah, we examine the baby and we say, okay, there could be something small, do this and this and this, or take this medication, or follow this up. And at that point then, I pick it as a moment of education. And I tell you, if this gets worse, these are the danger signs to look out for, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a very important note you've put out there. And I also want to ask a follow-up on that, because in an African setup, basically, when a kid is sick, sema mtoto ako na homa, we always know a particular medicine for a particular disease. So would you say we are a generation that is over-reliant on drugs?
I think a lot of what comes up in terms of how you manage your household is from also what you see other people doing. So you'll say, maybe when I was being raised by my mom or my dad, every time I got sick, I was given Piriton and I was fine, yeah? Or I saw my grandmother or my mother was managed like this by my grandmother, or I've seen my neighbors doing this, yeah? So it comes from what you have observed, yeah? But that's now where we come in and we say, just seek medical attention. You'd rather get the right information from somebody who's gone to school and studied all of this, yeah? Than from somebody who maybe would think it's right. And you'll find a number of times, we don't even manage those illnesses with those medicines. A number of times people will come to the hospital and I send them back home and they're like, daktari, wapi daktari? I mean, wapi dawa? And I say, you don't need dawa. This is the situation, yeah? So treatment also is not equals to giving medication, yeah. But that is now where we come in, and that is where such forums like this are important, because we are telling people, don't do trial and error at home. Go to a healthcare professional, go to your pediatrician, let them be the ones to tell you, I think you can survive at home with this and this and this management, but watch out for this.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how do you make a parent certain that the kid really doesn't need drugs? Because when you mesema, mzazi anakuuliza wapi dawa ya mtoto, how do you make it out there for them to understand that it is not drug that they need for that child?
In fact, a number of the times when you come to the pediatrician's office, it's like more counseling for the parent. Like a small portion of it is managing the baby, and then the rest of it is just reassuring the parent, yeah? Okay. So, and education is very important. And lack of knowledge actually is what drives us to do some things, yeah? So, if you meet me, for example, and your child has a homa, in the simplest terms, I will explain to you what it is, what causes it, what symptoms happen, why you're seeing this happening now, how long it will kind of take, because like a homa, for example, is a viral illness that the body will kind of sort itself out. Now we have to like support the body, yeah? And a number of the times, once that conversation is over, the parent is like, okay, I think I'll do what you say. Even if they're like, no, they're like, okay, I understand why. Yeah. And then I always follow it up with, if things don't get better, rush back to the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Let's get to the comments. Well, thank you guys. I'm really loving this conversation. I'm learning. I'm really happy, as you can see. I'm learning new things. And I'm hoping you guys are also getting the same vibe. So Ian Shortit, thank you so much for staying tuned for Island's Expressions. I'm a Tuma Fire. Thank you so much. We send back the fire back to you, Yari. Thank you so much. Sherry Mercedes. Hi, Sherry. Thank you so much for joining us for E Squared. Amesema moto. Sherry. So thank you so much for joining the family. So I'll just need you to do one thing for me. Subscribe to our channel. Turn the notification bell on, so next week tukiwa na show hauta miss. Across the week tukiweka content kwa page yetu hautamiss. Sitko sawa Sherry? And thank you so much for joining us. Rebecca Muiruri. Hi Rebecca. Rebecca anasema yay, girl power. Happy Women's Day Rebecca. Lucy Naima anasema learning so much. Good job. Thank you so much Lucy. Lucy, subscribe to our channel. Turn the notification bell on. Keep sending us the love, yes? Steve Biko anasema ndio kuingia sasa. Karibu sana Bazu. Karibu. Steve Biko. Ian Shortit amesema akona question hapa anasema most children between the age of 3 to 6 years old don't like eating. How do you make sure they eat properly?
Okay, that's a very important question, and it's actually a very common question. And it doesn't only happen from 3. It actually even sometimes happens earlier. Now, same thing I said, good spacing every 3 hours. It's important to note actually that babies, their tummies are small and they fill up with very little. So if I give you a glass of milk at 1 o'clock and I put for you ugali at 2 o'clock, this child is not going to eat. So if you have good spacings, 3 main meals, snacks in between. Remember, the snack is only supposed to carry you on to your next main meal.
Yeah.
So it's not food. It's not like a whole other meal, yeah? Make your food interesting, yeah? So give variety. Don't give the baby ugali and eggs every day. They'll get bored. Even you as an adult, you'll get bored.
Yeah.
And then it's important to know also that babies have small stomachs. And a number of times, what I get from parents as the child not eating is that they're not finishing their food. And when we get the history, the child has been put for so much food, honestly. They won't finish. So start with small quantities, yeah? Each a fist. You see your fist?
Yeah,
Hold
yeah.
it like this. So now imagine for a baby. Then 3 of those, like protein. So that's kidogo.
Okay.
And then now you keep adding. But remember, it's a balanced meal, yeah?
Yeah.
Interact with the child as they're eating. Don't make mealtime a stressful environment because now they associate it with that. So if kula, maliza chakula, money, everyone goes like, over here, it's time to eat, time to throw a tantrum. Because they're already apprehensive. They're already waiting for drama, yeah?
Okay.
So eat with everybody. Let them see that everyone actually also does this. And then small different meals and then a variety of meals. They'll get some food aversions as they grow older. But just keep it consistent as the parent. And then when you go to your clinics, that's another thing that we check because most of those who have problems with eating, you look at their weight and their height, and the child is actually thriving. So it's also for the parent to understand what eating and not eating is, which also comes from regular follow-ups. Yeah, it's important to note that children, as they're growing up, they build up they require a lot of protein to build up because they have rapid growth and they require quite a bit of protein, yeah? And a number of times you find that is what culturally maybe kids are not supposed to eat. You'll hear someone saying a child is not supposed to eat eggs or meat or things like that, but that is what they need, yeah? So balanced, I can't emphasize on balanced diet. And the mbogas must be there.
The mbogas
must be there.
Yes, Mort Lizzie. Hi Mort, thank you so much for joining us live. Ametutumia moto. Thank you so much. Japheth Kalombo. Hi, Japheth. Ametutumia moto pia. Thank you so much for joining us for Eastlands Expressions. We come live to you each and every Saturday from 2 p.m. So just subscribe and you'll be part of the next conversation. Hi, Michael Black. Michael Black ametuma question hapa. Anasema, most kids start school and have flu throughout and you can't keep medicating. What should parents do to manage the constant flu?
Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, management of illnesses is multiple, you use multiple aspects, yeah? So 1, prevent, and then 2, treat, yeah? So in terms of prevention, nutrition, like I said, good balanced diet, make sure their weight is good for their age. We also have vaccines for flu. And also you find that what we call flu is sometimes not flu. It's actually a common cold, yeah? But just, there's a yearly vaccine that we give for the flu vaccine, which is also very important. It's not in what we call the KEPI schedule, but it's an important vaccine. So let them get their annual flu, let them hydrate well, let them eat a balanced diet, fruits and mboga kwa wingi. I keep talking about mboga. And then build also their physical strength. That also helps, yeah? And then and then basic hygiene, yeah? Hand washing, and children can be taught how to do that, yeah? hand washing at every instant, especially when they are ill, yeah? And then once they get ill, early identification of the symptoms and management.
Yeah.
So it's not uncommon because the immune system is still kind of sorting itself out, yeah? But it's a very difficult period for most children, especially when you start school, like those who start school at 3. And you find, but by the time that they're 5, 6, their illnesses are way less. In fact, the 6-year-olds don't get as sick as the younger babies less than 5 years old, yeah? So just to encourage parents that it's a season, but if they follow the instructions put out to them, then it's manageable.
Okay.
Yeah.
Other than common cold, are there other diseases that have symptoms like flu-like symptoms?
Well, a number do. And you find that even children, the way their immune system is, they might actually have something and not present the way you typically expect. I might have a chest infection and I'll vomit, you know. I might have an infection, you know, like in my nose, and I'll probably have diarrhea or something like that, yeah? So just to identify that this is out of the norm, yeah? They're very prone to quite a number of illnesses, yeah? And a number of them you'll see, like I said, we prevent and we manage. A number of them you'll see that we prevent when we're giving you vaccines, yeah? Which will help you get maybe a less critical version of the illness, yeah? Sometimes it will not stop the illness completely, but you will get like a less severe version of the illness. So make sure your children get all their vaccines,
Okay.
all the ones that are recommended and the add-on ones if you can, yeah?
Okay.
And then just the other things, yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for that. Acheng Okelo, okay, Nancy Bansi first. Hi, Nancy. Nancy anasema, how can you tell if your kid is experiencing abuse?
That requires a very keen eye. But remember, like I said, children don't lie.
Yeah.
They will show some symptoms somewhere. So one, as the parent, check in with your child. Check in with your child. And when you check in with your child, then you're creating a situation that's comfortable enough for them to talk to you, yeah? So do frequent, like when they're younger, frequent check-ins, just watch the baby, find out, talk to them, you know, things like that, yeah? Look for any signs that are not usual. Like my child was always happy and laughing, now they're a little bit withdrawn. There's something a bit off, yeah? If you're keen, you will see it, yeah? And then also, to prevent it, remember knowledge is power, and knowledge is power for everybody. Even the child that you think does not understand, understands very well. So when they get to about 3, 4 years, they actually get quite interested in their genitals. It's not unusual. They actually start learning that I am a boy, I am a girl, boys look like this, girls look like this, boys are supposed to do this, girls are supposed to do this. And then so when you see such kind of interest, you as a parent also introduce the topic of good touch, bad touch, yeah?
Okay.
So that they know, I think someone touched me like this. Even a 3-year-old will be able to tell you, when I was being showered, auntie did this, you know, because you've started the conversation. Make it more and more complex as they grow older. With a 6-year-old, you'll give in more detail, you know, you'll talk about private parts using their names, real names, not Susu and Dudu and things like those, yeah? So that then they're also aware. Empower your child, yeah? Okay, and frequent check-ins. I can't emphasize the frequent check-ins.
Okay. Office, wow. Hi, Acheng Okelo Abungu Omondi. Thank you so much for joining us for E Squared. Hey, uko na jina poa sana. Anasema Kongole BFF. Dr. Atieno Jowi Semo. Makofi, amazing stuff. Asante sana kwa kutujoin. Makenda TV, thank you so much for staying tuned again for E Squared. Anasema my baby has a shilingi. Kwa hiyo place, nywele na katika. What will be the problem, doctor? Shilingi uletwa na nini?
Shilingi is what we call ringworms. It's a fungal infection, yeah? Now, just from the description, it's very difficult to know what it is because there are a number of skin issues that look like this shilingi. And we also have a tendency as our society to go to a chemist and say, "Mtoto wangu ako na hii," then you're given medicine, and it might not actually be that. So if it is something that's persistent, I would strongly advise that she gets it checked out. It might actually even be eczema, it might be something else, yeah? It might not be what she thinks it is, yeah? But if somebody looks at it, they'll be able to see what it is, and then they'll be able to advise further, yeah?
Okay. Okay, thank you so much for that. Michael Black ametuma comment anasema, what is the difference between flu and common cold? I thought they are the same.
No, a flu is actually called by what we call influenza. It's a different type of virus, yeah? A common cold have multiple other viral causes. There are so many viruses in this world, many, yeah? But what we call the flu is typically caused by the virus that we call influenza. Yeah, sometimes quite serious, and it's what actually you're given as the yearly flu shot. It's an influenza vaccine. There are many strains in that, yeah? So we typically use the word interchangeably, but what most of the time we experience is the common cold. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. I have learned so much. Thank you so much for creating your time. But before I let you go, you are a mom. You
Yes,
said
I am.
you are a mom.
Yes.
So as a mother, Dr. Elizabeth, what are some of the lessons you have learned in between?
Okay. One, it's important to know that I was also very clueless. And I would call people. I'd call my mom on the phone and say, this is happening. And she says, but you're a doctor. But literally, being a mother makes it very different, yeah? So there are those things that you will typically not know, and you're also learning. It's a full-time job. It's nothing you've ever been prepared of. Each child is completely different, even if you have multiple children. So you're literally learning along the way. So being a doctor doesn't stop you from not knowing some things. And actually being a mom who's a pediatrician, there's lots of comments you get, like, you just treat your child. When my child is sick, medicine goes out the window. I become a mother.
Yeah.
I need to know what's happening. So my children actually have their own doctor who I take them to and when there's an issue, yeah? And yeah, so but you find that being a doctor and a pediatrician and a mother, it kind of has opened my eyes to quite a number of things. And I think it has made me maybe even more keen that if I see just something happening, and I'll even ask the mom, have you also noticed this? Because it's like I'm kind of putting both maternal and medical knowledge together, yeah? So I think it has actually made me more keen. It has made me more empathetic to moms who have sick children. I have had sick children, and it really drains you. So, and you find yourself in a situation where you're telling the mom, why didn't you do this? But at that point, they're a mom. They were traumatized, yeah? So it has made me more empathetic to mothers with sick children, yeah? And I think overall it has made me generally a better person, a more patient kwanza, more patient person even, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. We also have Makenda amejibu tena. Makenda TV anasema, hiyo shilingi inaweza kosiwa na lack of deworming. Anauliza kama lack of deworming can cause that shilingi.
I think it's kind of a myth that we have that if I have worms, then I'll have mashilingi. Well, if you have worms, then remember, like in layman's language, these extra things are actually eating what you're supposed to be taking. So there'll be an element of undernutrition or something like that, especially if they're more, yeah? So, but it doesn't always cause the skin issue. It's a fungal infection, and it's very contagious. So it could be that maybe somebody in the school or at the barber shop, and maybe the tools weren't cleaned very well, and you got infected. But if your immune system is not good and your nutrition is also not good, then it means then you're at more risk of getting some of this, what we call common illnesses, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Asante sana. Hey, umetupatia free lessons, and guys, you get to learn all this stuff each and every Saturday from 2 p.m. We bring you the best of the best. I hope you've learned something from this conversation. Of course, itabaki bado YouTube after the live ends. Just search, E_Square TV. Now, interact na content yetu, but before we get our artist back, I want you to take a look at a video that is coming up. And of course, we're still on that vibe of celebrating women. We celebrate you as well.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
we
so
celebrate you as well.
Thank you. So take a look at this video, guys. So you've talked about being a mom, having daughters. How is it juggling between boxing, being a mom?
Wacha tuseme ni wewe kujipanga. Na ni wewe wakati watoto wangu walikuwa wadogo na bado nilikuwa kwa boxing, nilikuwa najipanga sana. Ni lazima nihakikishe kila kitu iko seti. Nihakikishe nimeamka asubuhi, nimetayarisha kila kitu, rodi, nitoke rodi nikuje. Yaani wewe ni kujipanga, ukuje ujipange at least uhakikishe kila kitu imefanyika, juu wakati unaamka kitu kama saa 11 unajua vizuri sana kila kitu itakuwa sawa. By 6 utoke kwa nyumba uende ukimbie maybe 30 minutes urudi, alafu uendelee tu na vitu zako, upumzike tena, alafu uende gym. Unaona, hizo ni wewe kujiwekea time yako na kufanya vitu zako vile wewe unataka. So by the way nilikuwa napanga watoto wangu na ninajipanga pia mimi mwenyewe.
What I feel like about mama wako kuwa,
kusema ukweli nilipendea watoto wangu ni support ile yenye walikuwa wananipatia, na tukiwa chini wanajua tuko chini, na hiyo ni kitu yenye ambapo wanajua vizuri sana. Saa zingine anakuja anakuambia siku moja kila kitu itakuwa sawa. So hiyo ndio support yenye ambapo nilikuwa nashinda nikipata kwa watoto wangu. Hata nikilose game hawasemi sijui nini. Unaona vile sisi wa Kenya tuko, unajua wakati unashinda wewe ni mtu wa watu, wakati unashindwa wewe si mtu wa watu. So hiyo ni kitu yenye ambapo moja yenye ambapo nilikuwa napendea familia yangu, sababu nishindwe nishinde wako pale na mimi. Unaona, hao ndio wanajua ni nini struggle gani yenye ambapo na struggle ndio nifike hapo mahali, ni kwa nini nimeshindwa hiyo game, wanajua. Unaona, so hiyo ni kitu yenye ambapo hiyo support yenye walikuwa wananipatia ndio ilikuwa inafanya pia at least naweza kujipush na naweza kujua ya kwamba sitaki watoto wangu wakae life yenye ambapo mimi nilikuwa nataka at least niwatoe hapo, niwapatie life nyingine yenye ambapo wenyewe wako naye na wasome, wasikae kama mimi. Unaona, so hiyo ndio kitu yenye ambapo yenye ilikuwa inafanya support yao na mimi mwenyewe kujipush. Nilikuwa najua vizuri sana nini kenye ambapo nawatakia katika maisha yao.
Well, I'm trying to figure out how to ask this question. Is it that it's our bringing as women or as girls that we feel that I don't think I'm worth as much as the next guy in the room? Is it our bringing, or why do we feel the need to, see ourselves as less than the men?
Well, it could be. It could play part. That's interesting that you ask that. But I want to pose it to you, and I want to give you a scenario. You have brothers, right?
Yeah.
When you're growing up, or when you were growing up, did you have to wash dishes while your brother watched TV?
Well, he came way later. But yes, there was some gender roles.
Exactly. So how I grew up, we grew up in an equal opportunity family, equal tasks family, where we all did the dishes, but we all watched TV at the same time. So it's differences in upbringing, but how much of that upbringing affects you in future? Because you see, even parents, when parents are having children, sometimes they wish that, while I have 2 boys, I would love to have a girl somewhere. I think I'm talking about myself. I would like to have a girl somewhere. So if you can think that, why then do we tend to change the narrative when we grow up and say, this is a role for women, but this is a role for men? Why do we say this, you need to pursue this career in nursing, but I want my son to pursue a career as an engineer?
True.
Give them equal opportunities right from the start. Because if you as a parent can say, I want to have 2 boy children and 2 girl children, give them the same equal opportunities that you think of each time you're thinking about how differently. So upbringing plays a role, but I think that societal expectations also sometimes tend to put women's expectations down, which I think is something that needs to change. So if I'm going to say I choose to challenge, I'm going to choose to challenge the narrative of having to look at women as of lesser value. Give equal value to everybody, because we probably even do twice as much the work that our male counterparts do.
Exactly.
So without having to sound biased, I want to choose to challenge everybody out there to just make sure that they give equal opportunities to both men and women.
Very.
taximan. Na nilichukua taksi dakika baada ya kupigia mchumba nyumbani, anasema mpenzi na kugoja uje unipe pendo. Na nikiwa njiani taksiman akaanza kuzima gari. Nilitamani ningekuwa na mabawa, nilitamani ingekuwa na kipawa, ningeburuka nikamfuate yeye, lakini iliniacha nikimtetesha huyu taksiman. Taksiman wewe, demo nayempenda ananigoja mimi, gari unaiendesha pole pole. Taksiman wewe, demo nayempenda ananigoja mimi, gari unaiendesha pole pole. Kichwani nilikumbwa na mawazo, simu kazima singetuma hata jambo. Taksiman akaanza zake mambo, ananana kama gari na panja, ananana kama gari na petroli, ananana. Nilitamani lingekuwa ndoto, niamke nimkumbatie mtoto, lakini iliniacha nikimtetesha huyu taksiman. Taksiman wewe, demo nayempenda ananigoja mimi, na gari unaiendesha pole pole. Taksiman wewe, demo nayempenda ananigoja mimi, na gari unaiendesha pole pole. Taksiman wewe, demo nayempenda ananigoja mimi, na gari unaiendesha pole pole. Pole pole.
Wonderful. Taximan is the name of the song.
Yeah.
Iko YouTube.
Yeah.
Kila msenda check. Izzoh.
Yeah. Mimi hapa sasa.
Introduce.
Mimi naitwa Izzoh Munga. Original names Isaac Mungai. Yeah. And unaweza nipata YouTube, Facebook, on that name. Pia unaweza nipata on another name, Shash Records, that is Solving Hardship and Articulating Successive Heights, Shash Studios. Yeah.
Wow, what a wonderful performance, Mazi. I really love that song.
Asante sana.
But niko na favorite pia ingine yenye labda hujacheza bado. Ile ya Vernacular. Bas. Yo.
Well,
that's a show. You'll wait for it.
Wagoje sana.
Ngoma poa sana. So anyway, Izzoh, nataka to interact, tujuane yani as humans sasa. Izzoh the artist kando kidogo. Sasa Izzoh Munga ni nani sasa? Describe yourself in a minute or so.
Izzoh Munga is a bland name with I and the guitar in my music journey. That is Izzoh Munga. naweza describe hivyo. But Isaac Mungai is Isaac Mungai from primary school ama from way back kutoka nizaliwe. That is Isaac Mungai and I'm still Isaac Mungai.
So kidogo tuende kwa music yenye Isaac Mungai anafanya. Izzoh music yako ni very unique, like iko na a sense of reggae but it's more of a soul blues type of kuimba sasa. In terms of your writing ina feel ni kama yani it's more of meaningful. Hata hiyo wimbo ingine ya vernacular ni ya gospel.
Kweli.
So uko quite versatile. Naweza taka unieleze ulienda hapa aje ku fall into those types of music?
Well, I would say it's where I'm from. The journey, it all began. I would say siwezi jua the actual date and the actual year that I started doing music. But what I would say, it was a couple of years ago. Nilianza mziki. I saw a friend of mine, a brother, I would say, an uncle, a big friend, yani
a legend.
A legend.
Kwanza ni legend.
Legend in
Simtaje kwanza.
Legend in, I would say legend, a living legend. So, he once played me music in a guitar, and we were just one-on-one like we are with you. Na vile alinichezea nilibambika sana. And let me tell you, definitely the next day nilikuwa nishanunua gitaa yangu. Nikaa vile unaweza shikwa na karao. You do everything possible kuona ninaweza toka aje. Unaelewa? Nikaa vile tu muziki ilinishika like, and I didn't feel any pain though. Ilinishika design nyingine, ilini hit design nyingine. I would say muziki yenyewe ndio inajiongelelea. So yeah, and I learned how to play the guitar from him to tune. And nikapatana na other guys, like that was the first guy to teach me how to tune the guitar. Alikuwa anaitwa Harikemani,
a legend. Bebe kama ujui Harikemani.
So and along the way nimekuwa nikifundishwa pia na wasee kama Malak. He taught me how to play one drop, that is reggae music. Na pia nikafundishwa na an old legend also, I'll call him a living one. He's called Mzee Ali Magobeni. Yeah, and he plays in one of the band called Lutz Connection. Yeah, and by my touch comes from mostly listening to reggae music and blues music, versatile paka rumba music. Yeah.
So sauti yako venye nilisikia mara ya kwanza ilinikumbusha sana Tracy Chapman. Unaweza sema pia rock hivi kiasi hapa unasikizanga?
Well, nimesikiza Tracy Chapman for some time from when I was young. Kuna hii ngoma yake. Well, sijui kana zicheza though. It really inspires me in lighting acoustic kind of music. Yeah.
Okay, so to assume Izzoh hakuwa artist, to assume Izzoh hakumeet all the legends kina Harikemani, kina nini.
Yeah.
Where talents zako na calling yako ingine yenye unaweza sema yani inbred yenye uko nayo ni gani?
Well, hii naweza kuambia for sure. This is something I didn't learn. This is a gift I nilipata in my family. Despite no lady does it. Ni talent ya kushuka nywele. Naweza kusonga nywele hapa, hizo madredi naweza zifanya zikakaa fiti. Naweza tengeneza mama bandika lines zenye ziko dope sana. Neza make sister locks, neza make temporary locks zenye ziko dope sana. And this is not something I went to school to learn. Neza sema my mom gifted me this when I was very young. Hata ka sijaingia high school, in primary school I was doing it. Yeah.
Shout out Mama Izzoh.
Sana madhe.
Haya, ni describe Izzoh tuseme akiwa mtaani ukifika, tuliongea ukaniambia Ruaka ndio home but musical home ni Ngara.
Well, I'll say yeah, home ni Denderu 107. That's where I stay. But my musical home ni Ngara, cause that's where nilipata the inspiration from. Hari alikuja home Ngara, so and tulikuwa tunachezea kwa balcony doing our own thing. Na hapo ndio I've taught myself how to tune the guitar, how to play the guitar. My music studio iko hapo Ngara, inaitwa Shash Records, and that's where I do my music, and that's where I say Ngara ndio musical home kwangu. Yeah.
So far down the line miaka zenye umekuwa ukifanya muziki, what's the biggest thing unaweza sema yani umelearn throughout the game, the industry, nini the biggest take home?
Well, listen to your heart and also listen to your brains, because they go hand in hand. Na naweza ambia mse, don't force it. Just feel the vibe. It's a mystic that flows through the air, so just feel the vibe, enjoy, listen to good music na itakubamba.
Good music, wetu recommendie good music. What were you raised on? Tuseme nyumbani pale ndio uko inspired kusikiza mangoma, mama alikuwa anakusikizisha nini?
Well, madhe alikuwa ananisikiza a lot of Kadongo Kamu. Kadongo Kamu is a style in Uganda. A style in Uganda. So I used to listen to Kafero. I remember that guy. He's called Kafero. He has some good Uganda music. My grandmother alikuwa ananisikiza Kameme. Yeah.
Serious?
Yeah. My uncle pia alikuwa ananisikiza marege. So, well, vibe yangu iko, my bigger cousins walikuwa wananisikiza mablues, R&Bs, na pia nikaweza kuunganisha zote pamoja into what I have now. Yeah.
So wasiokuwa na misconception sana ya wasio wanakaa hivi tuseme na Madrid na nini, unaambia mtu aimbe ngoma na assume ni kitu Bob Marley hivi, lakini muziki yako tumesikia ni kind of subtle. Yani kuna the main thought yenye inakuanga behind your writing. Ukiandika nini inakupenga inspiration most of the time?
Well, most of the time inspiration inakam to listening to good music. Like nimesikiza a lot of Bob Marley in reggae music. Nimesikiza Papa Wemba kwa rumba music. So a lot of listening to Bob Marley, let me go back to reggae, inspired me in lighting Mama. Taximan, well, ninaweza sema what inspired me in Taximan is the way unaweza pata uko kwa jam na traffic man. This comes from way like from traffic man amesimamisha ndae na already nini lights zinasoma green. So I'm like, niko kwa jam, mse amesimamisha nini light, niko ina hurry, nimechelewa. Unaweza kuwa umechelewa to do something very important. Inaweza kuwa it's not a love thing, but at the same time unasikia umechelewa tu yani. So I nearly translate that incident to to taxi man, because taxis sometimes inakuanga na shida kibao, na sijasema Uber, sijasema nini Bolt. Sometimes taxis zinakuanga na shida kibao, nasema mat. Sometimes kuna mat inaweza kuwa iko na pancha ama radiator imechemka, unajua. So such kind of vibe. Na maybe makarao, unaweza patana na karao kwa mtaa, akakupea pia inspiration, akakushika design fulani tu, yani amekupea inspiration. No offense, hakuna kumdis, lakini unamuelezea what you felt, unajua.
Ushajipata situation kama hiyo? Najua hiyo hata ni
ya karao
funny, lakini niambie ile the funniest, ile yenye hata wale unakaanga hivi unakumbuka.
Well, kuna station tu ya karao tu, nilikuwa natoka Kijani naingia Haso, so and this karao guy akanishika, despite naongea Kiswahili, Kikuyu, naongea, anaona anasikia accent yangu si ya majuu, akanitisha ID. Nikamwambia modo wa nyoba, manze sina ID, ni kujipora, nilijipata sina. Manze ikakuwa situation, nikajipata kwa chains. Manze nikajipata kwa simiti. The next nikajipata natoka naingia Mbosho kumpea do. So ama kujitoa kwa hiyo situation, unajua. So such kind of situations zinaweza kuinspire on lighting music, unajua. Yeah.
So sasa turudi kwa Izzoh the person.
True.
Izzoh the man, tuseme, throughout journey yako ya music umesema a lot about the ups, but ningetaka kujua sasa the lows. Sasa ni wapi ulifeel ni kama game imekulet down ama some type of way?
Well, I would say this, I remember the year. So 2019 December, it was good. Comes to 2020 January, February, hapo March, things started zikaanza kwenda chini, and I was at my peak. Nilikuwa na feel I'm at my peak, na nikajipata 2020 game imechange, the vibe imechange. I can't feel no vibe in my soul anymore, unaelewa. Nilivunjika moyo, nikaanza kuona music. Okay, I almost lost hope about music, but with time, vile time imekuwa ikiendelea, like nimekuwa sahi ninaona at least kuna change. I'm making some moves. I got back to the studio this year. I have a new album coming up. A good album though. Iko na a lot of Kiswahili, Kiganda, Kizungu. So back to your question, my lowest, ile time nimefeel muziki imenifinya sana ni that time, corona time, for me, because I'm still a young artist. Yeah.
Corona time ilikuwa hard for everyone, hiyo ni kweli, but the fact that tuko hapa leo pia ni plus, ndio.
Yeah, it's a bless.
So tell us a little bit about your album pia. What tuna expect nini from Izzoh Munga?
You're expecting a lot of Mr. Officers there. You're expecting a lot of Tonyue, that is not drinking love. Yeah, Tonyue love, drinking love. You're expecting a lot of protection, protecting my love. So
good vibes.
Definitely amazing vibe.
So naweza taka uanze kuuliza maswali pia hapo kwa comments. Izzoh ako hapa for you.
Yeah.
Nitaanza na Kendra Michelle hapa, anasema amazing work.
Asante sana.
Thank you Kendra.
Thank you Kendra, asante sana.
Hiyo shilingi hata hiyo hata ni ya the previous. Hii mziki ya watu wa Bolt na Uber wanafaa kuinunua. True. Imesemekana na Ian Short it. Ati hii mziki watu wa Bolt na Uber wanafaa kuinunua. I think alikuwa anaongelelea Taximan.
True, that is Taximan. Well, tafadhali wanunue ndio at least tupate some merchandise, some cash tuendeleze muziki pia.
Ian bado anasema hapo kwa kuunda nywele unafaa ufungue mahali wa rasta wanaweza tulia na roots wakiundo.
Iko hiyo place iko pale Ngara. So Nyayo Market unaweza nipata pale. Unaweza nipata kwa IG. Pia kwa Maadhe pia unaweza nipata hapo pia. Unajua my mom unaweza nipata hapo. So jo.
Kwa mama yake, kwa Maadhe.
Kwa Maadhe.
Don't misquote it.
Sijasema kwa Maadhe yani.
Alpha Kesha pia anasema the show is wonderful. Thank you Alpha Kesha from wherever you're watching this. Nancy pia anasema did he stay in Uganda ama ni juu anapenda kublend na UG music?
Well, pia niko na Kiganda music, niko na Mukwano. Mukwano is a song I load like a couple of years ago. Iko on YouTube, so view it. It's in audio form, a video dropping very soon.
So watch out for the video, watch out for the new album. Album umesema itaitwa aje? Ama bado
sijaipea jina.
Hiyo ni top secret. Yeah. Labda uongee na Harikimani. Unasikia msee ana deal na ma legends hapa. It's not a joke. So on to the next question. Hata yetu ya mwisho nataka utupatie like a parting shot ya in conclusion. Munga as an artist na Munga as a person wakipatana unakuwa who is Munga yani sasa?
Well, what tukipatana inside me, we bring good vibe, we bring love. Naweza sema I'm amazed, na face challenges as they come. Naweza sema it's a blessing to be me. If I was you, I want to be me too, man.
Kweli.
Yeah.
So I think tutaenda kwa the long awaited song. Inaitwaje? Introduce hiyo wimbo.
Mwendo wa Mwadhani.
Mwendo wa Mwadhani. Translation, mpendwa wa Mungu. Haya. Take us through.
You're chilling with original Izzoh Munga.
shida za mtambo kidogo, lakini everything's gonna be just fine. Kila kitu itakuwa sawa, just in a few.
So Izzoh, tukingoja as you perform, yes, as you perform Wendo wa Mwadhani. Yeah, so naweza taka tu kujua pia hizo kidogo before nikuachilie. Umesema kuna this song you talked about, Mkwano, the Ugandan song.
Yeah.
I would love to maybe get to learn maybe one word from that.
Mkwano.
Yes.
You learn Mkwano. Mkwano is a mature, ready, in Kiganda, a mature mentally, that is mentally, physically. Yeah, Mkwano.
Mkwano.
My love.
My love.
Also, Mkwano is, yeah, my love.
My love.
Yeah.
Sawa. Tutakuwa tuna, maybe one day we'll get to perform that on Square.
You can call it a little bit translation pole.
Okay.
Inanisumbua kidogo. But I'll say Mkwano is a word you can call even a guy.
Okay.
Yeah, you can say you are my Mkwano.
You're my love.
Yeah, exactly. You're
okay.
my love.
Okay, I'm learning.
That's
I'm
it.
learning.
That's it.
Yeah. So thank you so much for coming through, Manze. We appreciate it. And as we get you to perform the last song, guys, there's a comment that was shared with us by Liz. Guys, thank you so much for interacting with us. We have loved interacting with you as well. So Liz was saying, I'm loving the conversation. I've learned a lot being a new mom. Could you kindly enlighten us about eczema? So Liz, congratulations for being a new mom. Thank you so much for joining us live. So we have an expert that is going to be handling that conversation next week. So next week, stay tuned. Tutajibu hiyo swali. And Izzoh, wacha nikuache ufunge show. And guys, I'll see you next week. Same place, same time. Remember, keep safe. As much as kuvaa mask in public is not mandatory anymore, just be well, protect yourself, sanitize, social distance, and of course, just have a beautiful afternoon and enjoy the rest of your weekend. And again, Wendo wa Mwadhani.
Lakini hapo kwa mask ndio tuko sasa.
Hapo kwa mask ndio tuko.
Ndio Mutaikago alisema si lazima uvae.
Sawa.
Kwa public, so
Imeko nice.
Sana nishaishi kwa na juu ya mask na karao, so ukinipata hapo nje bila mask ujue leo imetoka from above, unajua.
But pia ujilinde, si ndio?
Lakini ujikinge. Sijasema usivae tu mask.
Sawa. Izzoh, to bless, si ndio? Goodbye guys. Stay tuned for next week's show. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us across all our social media handles at @e_square TV. It's been nice hanging out with you guys. So until next time, be blessed.
Bafonani jiureria gikombe kia mothe ndungata yakue Nyitagwo na ndukadekie Nyitagwo nigetha ndikagwe na adui na nikipatana naye wewe kuwa ngao niweze pitana naye bila hata tatizo. Bafonani jiureria gikombe kia mothe ndungata yakue Nyitagwo na ndukadekie Nyitagwo nigetha ndikagwe na adui na nikipatana naye wewe kuwa ngao niweze pitana naye bila hata tatizo. Tondu wendo wendo monie irima ndakireka nduke marikire mukinde tondu wendo wake mwathaniwe wendo magegania wendo wake mwathaniwe wendo magegania ndinake atire kindu kingimakia we asha ndinake atire kindu kingimakia we atire kindu kingimakia wendo wake mwathani wendo magegania wendo wake mwathani wendo magegania ndinake atire kindu kingimakia we asha. Yep. Thank you my bandist, thank you my pianist and the bassist here, although nimewajua leo so I don't remember the names.
Black Boy Music.